Welcome everybody to another edition of Down and Dirty with the Badger State Tractor Pullers, sponsored by Slama Enterprises, Casper A, Front Street Toys, Wetton Camp Transport, Trip Downing, and our good friends at Fair Valley Performance with us here tonight.
Right on.
So welcome, Dennis, Ridge, Greg.
Yeah.
You forgot Eric Wettenkamp.
I said Eric Wetton Camp Transport.
Did you? Oh, did you? I missed it.
Greg wasn't paying
attention. Nobody listens to the announcer.
Why would you do that?
Right. Yeah.
Yep. So we've got Dennis on here for our fourth and last and final edition of Fair Valley Performance, their shop, and touring through it. How's it been? The guys been liking it, Dennis, so far?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right.
It's been good.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's been good. It was, I think everything got put together well. And I think by the time this episode is over, I think everybody on the outside is going to know exactly who FVP is, and not only FVP, but our team. That was the objective, is to get people through here and introduce the people that make this work, make this happen every day.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I know the guys are all watching because I get grilled. When's my segment on? When's my segment
yeah, right.
I said, well, if you ain't on yet, you'll be on the last one. So,
yeah, right. This will be it. I'm sure everybody's gonna be ready to watch something else after 4 weeks of seeing us. But, hopefully everybody's hanging in there. We got one more, everybody, and we can move, and then you can move on. So
I've gotten a lot of good comments about it. How about you, John? Everybody loves this type of stuff that we can get into the shops and do. And I wish we had time to do more of it.
Right.
We'll get some time here sometime and get a couple more done.
Right.
So it's behind the scenes stuff that you guys do that, people see trucks and tractors go down the track all the time, but this is a huge piece to the puzzle, that goes together in there. And, not just an engine builder, that builds engines, Riverside, Lemke, you can just keep naming them, but the fuel and air and the lines and the pumps and everything that goes with it that makes that Lemke engine run or Riverside engine run, that's a lot of cool stuff, and it's a huge piece. You got to have it.
Right.
You got to be right.
It's all a combination, and speaking of those engine builders like Riverside and Lemke, we work with all them guys, and just over the years, the number of years I've been in the business now, I think really that's what's made things happen, is to get to know these guys personally and to work with them, and where they can trust us as well when they're and that took a lot of years to do that, to get tangled up with guys like that, the big guys in the industry. And I feel, we're there now, and that we're able to do that, along with taking care of our beginning customers, our entry-level guys and things like that. I told Ridge, we can never forget about that, because that's where everybody came from. And another thing I always say, when you get the high-level puller, there's 10 hot farm guys, or farm stock guys that, and they need to be taken care of, where I feel we do a good job of that, as far as nurturing them and talking them through, which takes a lot of phone time. But I think I said it in the previous episode that I was in, once you build or work with a customer, I feel you kind of win them over for many years of business. So
100%. And you guys are, just to say, you've got a tractor out with a pump on it and injectors in it, and he does well. You're just as happy as that guy pulling that tractor when they do.
For sure. Absolutely. And honestly, it's, at the level that we're at now, it's actually somewhat stressful in some ways. Yeah. If someone has a down, or if someone breaks, if it is because of something we did, that I lose sleep over that. I really do. Probably even more so than when we pulled ourselves, and so we're really conscious about that. And that's one thing that we've really worked on over the years, is this quality. And I tell my guys, fine, we need efficiency, but perfection is what we need first.
Right.
Once we figure out perfection, then we can work on efficiency and try to be more profitable and get jobs done a little bit quicker, things like that. And we stress that and stress that. And we have a process here. When we get done with something, there's several set of eyes that see this product before it actually goes in the cardboard box and gets shipped out to New York or whatever, you know. And so we're really careful about that to make sure the customer's getting everything they need, all the gaskets, everything like that. So we don't have any things missing. And so we're really careful about that. So and I think we've done a good job at that over the years.
Yep. I agree.
James Geezy commenting saying Dennis and crew are great to work with. Helped me out quite a few times.
Yep.
2 exclamation points on.
Thanks a lot, James. So we enjoy working with you, and hopefully we can continue that in the future.
Yep. And it ain't easy being Geezy. That's what I've heard.
Trip Downing. Dennis and Ridge are top notch. Always there when you need them.
I appreciate that, Trip.
Thanks,
I really
Trip.
do. 2 good customers that just chimed in there. That's awesome. So,
and they're both tough. They're both tough runners, right? They're both of them guys.
I call it the top tier customers. So they're definitely them. So.
Yep. So, well, should we get on with the video? And please, anybody watching, comments are great. Please comment. It helps us and it helps other people. If you've got a question, don't be afraid to ask it. Right, guys?
Yep. This is our last time on, so now's the time.
Yep.
Ask him now. Right, guys?
Right on.
You let her rip, Ryan. So, Travis, you've been here for quite a few years, too.
I have.
You have?
17 years.
17 years.
Year behind Scooter. So.
Yep. And you're cousin to Dennis?
Yes, relative. Yep. My dads are cousins with Dennis. So.
Yep. So you've been here a long time,
Yep.
too. And he hasn't fired you yet. So
Not yet.
Can't
Yeah,
too
right.
bad yet.
Not
Probably
yet.
thought about it
Yeah.
a couple times.
Yeah,
right?
I'm sure. There's been times.
Years ago, right? I know some of the stories. So.
Yeah.
And it wasn't nothing about bad work or anything,
Right.
you know, just being here, right?
We like to party. So.
Yeah, yes. In that deer shack,
Right.
hunting camp. During deer hunting, I think this place pretty much shuts down.
Yeah.
for a couple
Yes,
days,
it does. Yes, it does.
A lot of avid deer hunting. I don't know if it's hunting or they just going to the tavern.
Right.
Just one excuse,
Well,
right?
a little of both.
Right. But you do get deer. Everybody
Yeah,
gets a deer.
we
once in a
do,
while.
yep.
Got good deer hunting right around here. So, what do you do here?
Mainly right now I'm working on an inline P pump. I work on a lot of inline P pumps, to be honest with you. So
Right.
here is a P7100 14 mil plungers and barrels with DLC coating, as you can see, with our high lift 14 mil lift cam in it. Good for a little over 1200 cc's. It is for a hot farm out of Minnesota, I believe. We build quite a few of these, so in 13, 14s, also 16s, obviously too. So.
Well, I remember one day being here and Dennis had 2 pallets of these cores.
Yep.
You know, are you out of them yet?
We are getting more now, so
I know
we're not
you are.
out, but yeah.
Yeah, they're hard to find too.
They
You get
are.
a bunch.
They can be.
Yeah, good ones.
Right.
You know, that are, aren't all beat up or anything, but so you assemble them different for everybody. I mean, if they want something special, you do something different.
Obviously, per application here, like this is for an international, so as you can see, the throttle would be on the outside, shut off inside. Different governor weight combinations depending on the class. This here would be for open RPM. We obviously have heavy weights for 3000 RPM classes or whatever application is needed.
Right. All right. Yeah. How many pumps do you think you've assembled here in the 17 years?
Thousands, probably.
Thousands?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is it, the more help you get around here, is it easier or you just take on more work?
We seem to take on more work the way it seems, but I guess that's a good thing.
That's
so.
everybody. You hire an extra guy, you think, hey, it was going to be easier. And everybody knows, we got an extra guy, we can do this. Now,
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. But it's all fun, right?
Yep. All is good.
Yeah. Good. So when you're done, do you get to go back and run them on the test stand?
Yes.
Or does
Yep. I also am on the test bench quite a bit. So.
Yeah. That's a funner thing. You get something done. And
It is. You get to see the final results, I guess. So it's always cool.
did you ever get one done that just blows your mind that it runs that good?
Yeah, it does happen on occasion, I guess, that some just go better than others, quite honestly. But
Right. And then there's probably that goes the other way too. What the heck's wrong with this thing?
End result is the same, but some definitely fight you more than others. So
Right. Yep.
every part inside has been customized in one way or another. So.
Right. And then you guys help when you make the fuel card, you run it at different settings.
Yep.
So you know where you're at.
Obviously, you adjust your fuel screw. We go in half turn increments. So
Yep.
graph it all the way up to max and all the way to minimum, I guess. And
So do they all pretty much run, if it's the same, if you make 5 of these pumps this identical, will they all on the fuel card run the same?
Yes, as far as full output, yes, they will
Yeah.
all put out the same amount of fuel. But
Okay.
obviously, depending on the application,
Like
we
a
don't
ha-
set it the same.
Yeah, say a half turn is 40 cc's on one, it's 40 cc's on them all. pretty
Yes,
much, yeah.
yep.
They don't
yep.
change much.
Usually 13 mils, it's 50 cc's per half turn.
Okay.
Give or take a little, but
Yep.
on average, they're all pretty close, so.
Yep. So, yeah, this keeps you busy. You got enough stuff to do there, huh?
Yep,
Right?
always. Lots
Right.
of parts.
Right.
Lots
right.
of little parts that gotta work together.
When you see somebody's come in and say they didn't use the right kind of oil in the pump or you didn't run enough lube in the fuel, do you see that?
Yeah,
you
you
can kind of,
definitely can. I guess that's why we run DLC pins and rollers, which helps combat some of that. If somebody runs a lower quality oil,
Yep.
this helps compensate for that. It just makes
Right.
for a more robust bottom end.
All right. And then if they run too heavy in oil too, does that affect the governor at all?
Yeah, it can. It can make your governor weight sluggish. So
Yep.
it can make your governor sluggish, I guess. So
Yep. Because
That's
I've
why-
done that.
right.
That's why I'm saying that. Yeah. Put too heavy oil
Yeah.
in, it didn't work. You know,
Yeah,
you're wondering
we
why.
Recommend 2050, I guess. So.
Yep. So, well, thanks, Travis.
You bet.
Thanks for your input and thanks for 17 years of work.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, here with Justin Hossider. You newer here. How long you been here?
Next month will be a year and a half.
Year and a half. All right, that's a long time. What do you do here?
Mainly work on inline P pumps.
Inline P pumps,
Yep.
stock ones or
Mainly pulling pumps.
pulling pumps?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. You like it?
Yeah, yep.
Like
Something different every day.
high stress environment here?
Some days. Yeah.
Some days, yeah, I'll bet, yeah. Guys want their stuff done, and yeah, that's
Yep.
how it is. But
Some days you have a pump that you can't get together very good and it gets a little stressful. But
do you guys, whenever you put a pump together, do you run it on the test stand to make
Yes.
sure it's working and stuff
Yep.
before you send it out?
yeah, you got to balance all the cylinders, make sure everything's same, and
Yep. So if it's not right, what do you do to balance the cylinders?
you got to turn the barrels on the pump and
Just turn them,
Yep.
to get them to, so they're all pushing the same amount of
Yep.
fuel as what you, yeah.
Yep.
So, right. Yep. So you have we'll show the test stand in here in a little bit, and it collects the fuel as it comes out in a certain amount of time or whatever. You got to make sure they're all the same.
Yep.
Yep. Is that a fun part of it, doing it? You get to run the test stand?
Yeah, that ain't bad.
I would, but and when you do something wrong, you go, oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was asking Travis over there, if, did you, what happens if you have a part left over? Don't tell anybody about it or
Yeah,
not?
you just throw that in the junk pile.
Or you're getting done, I don't have the part, I don't go, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what farmers do,
Yeah,
right?
yep.
Yep. So, yeah, but like working here and
Yeah.
good place. And
Yep.
you guys have a great reputation in the pulling industry. Dennis, Fair Valley does, and as most of the guys do. But getting stuff out on time has always been something I think Dennis prides himself on.
Yeah, yep.
And that all comes from you guys getting the work done and keeping at it until it's done.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. Great. All right. Well, thanks for talking to us, Justin.
thank you.
We'll see ya. All right, Nick. Why don't you tell us what your fun job is?
So I do inline pumps here, P pumps, A pumps, the occasional PFR.
Yeah. So when you run one up, we were just talking to Justin, and he puts one together. You test them all before you send them out, right?
Yep.
How long
Test
does
and
it take?
calibrate.
Yep. How long does it take you to calibrate one if it's?
Typically 4 to maybe even 8 hours on a bigger pump like this,
Really?
especially being a new build. If it's previously been run, it's usually a little quicker
Yeah.
because things are fairly set.
So
fine-tune.
when they bring a pump in to just go over and not really fix anything, but just check it over, they don't change the barrel height or anything like that. They just so it should all be good. But then if you test it, it might not be, right? Something like
It might not be, or often the balance just needs a little fine tuning. It's close, but
Yeah.
things move.
Right, and you want them all as close as you can get them right.
Right, absolutely.
I do as a puller. I want
Right.
to make sure, why is this one so hot and this cylinder, because
Right.
the invention of computers now checking this stuff has really made a
Right.
difference on, back in the old days, you just watched how much smoke was coming out the pipe and you hoped it all worked.
Right, yeah.
Now with a computer, you know what each cylinder's doing, and this is where it comes into play that the pump is right,
Right.
and your injectors hopefully are right, that's all part of it.
Check fuel flow, timing, governor operation, all that.
Yep,
So,
yep. You got one? Can you spin this one up here for us?
We sure can.
All right, you start it up here. How many RPMs do you simulate here with the pump?
So at idle, low idle, we'll do true, low idle RPM. So 500 on the bench would be 1,000 on the engine because the pump turns half speed, of course.
Yep.
But under load, this pump, about 300 RPM is where we're going to take our draws. It's a big pump.
Yep.
So
What size pump? What size barrel of plungers? Do you know that when it comes here? What size plungers it has in it? Barrels?
so if we built it, obviously we know. If it's somebody else's pump we've never seen, usually we at least got to take a fitting out, take a look.
Measure it.
We can figure it out pretty quick.
And then you'll have a rough idea then what it should pump if you know
Yes.
what it is, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
If we don't know, we always do some measuring first.
Right, and the cam can change all that, and
Absolutely.
all kinds of stuff. So why don't you give her a spin here?
It'll take a minute to get going here.
Yeah. So you said that put out 1,400 cc's in, is it a time you run or how?
So that's 1,400 cc's per 1,000 strokes.
Per 1,000 strokes, okay.
That's where it's set at. This will actually put out a little over 1,800, but
All right, that's
we're
where,
set at 1,400. It's a 4.1 limited pro.
yep. That's pretty good. If you get 1,800 out of these pumps, I remember the days you couldn't get 1,000 out of them.
Right.
You know what? Yeah. You guys have come a long ways.
Now that's a hot farm.
Right. So, well, that's pretty cool for people that have never seen. I haven't watched this myself much either, but it was pretty neat. Good to show off what you do here, and we appreciate all the guys watching. Do love this stuff the best. This will be the highlight of the show. This stuff like this. So just so you know. Yep. And again, anybody have any questions while we're doing it? Dennis and Bridge will be on the show at the end. So this is a pretty important part. You got one big one here too that you got from Columbus, right? Test stand.
The big test stands, yeah, those are in the next room.
They're in the next room, and yeah, he says he's getting that up and running yet and going. If you're going to be in the Sigmas, you're going to need that one, right?
Right. Well, we have the 100 horse running, but
Yeah.
there's a 200 horse yet too.
Yep.
So.
You got to get electricity out here. We're out in the sticks.
Right.
Yeah, so at the 3-phase 480, I mean, we've got it at the farm 2 miles down the road, but back in that day, they did it for free.
Right.
Too bad the guys didn't do it here, for everybody. Yeah, that's the way it is these days. So, well, thank you, Nick. Hi, Mark. What's your last name and where are you from?
Mark Breinig from Sauk City, Wisconsin.
Yeah, everybody's from Sauk City around here. What the heck's going on? It must be the neighborhood, right?
Yeah, it must be.
Which Breinig family? There's like 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Be Steve and Dorothy, the standard station Breinigs.
Okay, there you go. So you've got you've been in machinery and stuff around there for a while then.
Yep.
What's your job here?
I work here in the parts department along with Jeff, helping manage inventory.
Well, I know Jeff was in parts for a long time at Weaver's.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah.
And about 20 years ago, I worked for Jeff at Weaver's. So,
Did you?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So the guys have to come back and tell you what they need, this, and you get them a package together then for what they're doing, or
Yeah, if they write it up, we go ahead and pull those parts and get them to them and make sure.
Basically, they have a kit then to put together, something together.
Yep.
Well, that's pretty cool. And I'm gonna switch my phone here again, guys, so I can show kind of what all you got here. And then it's pretty. There's a lot of stuff here. Pumps aren't big. It isn't like you're doing motors or anything. You've got little bitty parts here, you know. And
We manage a lot of small parts.
a lot of small parts and inventory.
Yeah, and it's you know it goes in streaks. It seems, you know, like you have a series of tractor.
Yep.
This guy's got a different series. We got to carry inventory for that. But all of a sudden, your series of tractor takes off.
Yeah.
You know, so all of a sudden it's like we got to kind of predict that a little bit.
And they're all specialty parts too. You can't just go order them.
Yeah, you don't go to the local place and get it.
Right.
So,
Right. How much of this stuff do you think comes from overseas, or is it all?
A majority is from here. There's certain some. Our biggest supplier is Alliant Power out of DeForest. We run there every day.
Yep.
And pick up parts. Plus, we hit local vendors that do some custom work for us and stuff like that, and pieces that we need. You know, if there's a John Deere part we need, we get it from John Deere.
Okay.
There's some stuff that's specialty and exclusive to us that we have custom made other places. You know, whether it's Europe or overseas.
All right. So if you come up with, say you're buying a part from Inline and it's kind of a standard part, but you think you could make, if you had it made different, that it would improve something, will they make it for you, or do you have to make that in-house?
This is a good example. If you look at this is P&Bs.
Yep.
Plungers and barrels. Actually, I'll stick over there. It's easy. Come
Yep.
over here, Mark.
Yep.
So like if this is something that we're using in a pump, we're actually gonna, Ridge will draw it up, Dennis will design it, Ridge will draw it up with them, they'll come up with some great ideas, and if this is something we want to machine, we'll have Gary do it, or we'll have a place in Madison that does some work for us, or in Sauk, there's a couple of guys that do stuff for us too.
Yep.
So a lot of that type of stuff, I mean, don't get me wrong, everyone's told to get stock pumps and stuff, but most of it, there's two part numbers for this. This, the base, and this, the one that's done.
Yeah.
And then that's basically what those guys will get. So we have to stay on top of it. We have to keep some of the base, but we also have to keep some of the stuff that's... So if you look at that, those are all Bosch.
Yep. So you can buy Bosch parts. Are Bosch parts pretty readily available, or?
They're decent. We do run into some shortages, but that's more of coming from Bosch directly.
Okay.
You know, they order stuff in sequence too, and then we try to get in line with it, but sometimes we don't hit it, or
Yep.
there's a run on them somewhere else.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
but a lot of what we do is try to manage that flow. The last thing the techs want is not to have the pieces to go together.
Right. Yeah. That'll hold stuff up. So, if it's stuff you guys build in house here, do you go to the guys and say, hey, I need a bunch of these. We got to catch up on these.
Yeah,
or
we
something?
generate POs in advance if we know,
Okay.
like the hold down clamps and stuff like that. Ridge and those guys make those for us.
Yep.
Ridge usually gets an order that we're looking at 3 months down the road, and we need to manage what we need now, but we also look at,
Yeah.
we could use more of these and make 100.
We're running through these, and then all of a sudden, yeah. So it's and then all of a sudden somebody does something and it doesn't work, and you have to bring them all back in and redo them. That might hurt too. You know, that happens.
Yeah, that does happen.
And it happens to everybody. So to say it never happens, that's not.
Well, and the industry's changing all the time
Yeah.
too. So all of a
Yep.
sudden, here's the next improvement. You know, and we gotta change with it, and we gotta be ahead of the curve on a lot of that. You know,
Right.
that's what people want.
Right,
So-
yeah. Somebody comes out with something new that they think is working, they're all ordering it. I've been
yeah.
around this for 45 years. I don't do it unless I put it in the dyno anymore. Unless, if it's, Robbie does all my stuff now, and I just trust him. He dynos it, says, yeah, put this on, or no, that doesn't work, So
that's the one thing coming from the automotive world that was a big change for me. You know, us in the automotive world, we had computers set up that ordered everything that we basically wanted. We knew we'd move order points around and stuff like that. We're doing that similar here, but it's such a wave, and all of a sudden it's here's the new thing. Dennis and Ridge are very creative. They're very smart people. They're very, this will work, and the R&D guys are always working. They're working on their pumps constantly. This will make this much better.
Right.
Let's do it.
And then the problem is all the stuff you got ahead on and build better. All of a sudden you build something better. That old stuff is obsolete now.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's, that guy that comes in, he's got the pump, he's happy with it. You
Yep.
know what? We'll use it.
We'll
We're not
use
going to change it's working.
Yep.
Let's stay with it. you know,
Right.
So
Right.
depends on the
Right.
series.
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a lot. We've done more with the organizational side since I'll be here 2 years in September, and Mark, I think he's in his 6th month with me, and
Yep.
since we come from that other world, we learn the diesel side, but we're bringing the automotive end of it. Of we need to manage this, we need to make this flow, we need to. You know, when Greg Elsing calls and says he wants this manifold, we should have one.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Hopefully. But I think I get the other treatment sometimes from guys. Yeah, we ain't got that. I sold the last one.
Oh, he takes pretty good care of people.
Oh, he does. He does. I'm just kidding him. Yeah. But it's all fun. We like to pick on each other. Then, yep. So, yeah, you've been here, 2 years you said now?
I'll be 2 years in September.
Yes. Yep. That's pretty good. Good place to work. Dennis and Jenny are great to work with.
Oh, it's a great company. For 30 years, I was with an auto parts company. They got bought. I was there for a couple of years, and truthfully, in the last 15 years, this is probably the happiest place I've been at.
Yep.
It's a great team. The technicians are amazing. They're sharp. They're willing to teach us.
Yep.
And Dennis and Jenny are very good people to work for. They take good care of their employees. They're flexible with us. You know, if I've got an appointment on a Tuesday, I've never been told no. And
Right.
a lot of those guys out there will say, yeah, you got to go.
To keep good guys, yeah. As long as the guys ain't doing it too often, that's just
Yeah, we
take
don't
advantage
abuse the
of it.
system,
Yep.
you know, but-
Yep. That's important. And I know the auto parts he used to work for. He was a good guy to work for too. But it gets bigger.
It's
And
harder to
then-
do.
then
the
you're-
demands on you are more.
You lose that personal touch with stuff.
Yeah, that's the nice thing with those guys on the other end of the building.
Yep.
It's if I got a question, I just go up and ask.
Yep.
You know, and it gets answered pretty quick. You know, and I got a lot of respect for those guys for what they go through and what they. I mean, it's not easy when you got a guy that says the pump's going to be there Monday. I need it back by Thursday night.
Right.
That's a lot of stress for those guys to get it done, and the teams work great together. Parts has to coordinate with service and EDM and sales, and they all have to coordinate with us and back and forth.
And you hope you have that part, or the Thursday ain't gonna work.
Oh yeah, and working between each other. It's like there might be a day where Scott gives me an order, he needs this, and I got to go talk to Gary and Drew, and we got to coordinate it. And Scott, you'll have it back tomorrow morning, and let's get at it. And it's very easy. It's easier than you'd think, but they're moving mountains. You think, but
Well, I know Dennis is good about communication with everybody, talking to everybody, and just saying, hey, you talk if you have a problem. Don't let it fester.
Yep. The flow of information back and forth. He's always teaching us stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, our goal is we're working with a computer system to upgrade that. We're buying from multiple vendors across quite a few. We're direct with a lot of the major diesel vendors out there right now, and it's like you're dealing with, if tariffs hit, your Bosch order might be late.
Right.
Yep. So we're communicating back and forth. He knows exactly what we're doing.
Well, that and Maddie, she was the first interview up front. 6,700 accounts, customers.
Yeah, I could believe that.
And just so imagine how many vendor accounts you have too. Then past that.
Yeah, and there's some that I haven't dealt with.
Yeah.
In almost 2 years, but it's like all of a sudden that'll be, where did we get this from? And they bought it because you got to buy it in X amount of size. It might be a 2-year order that comes in. And all of a sudden it's like those people have been very good with us and working with us. There's probably a good dozen of them that if I called them tomorrow, they'll help me out of a jam the best they can.
And they're probably the more of the mom and pop family type businesses.
Most
I think.
of them.
Yep,
Most
yep,
of them.
Most of them. Yeah. Yep. And I know you guys work with Chris Feller a little bit.
Yep.
Doing stuff. Yep. So yeah, he makes a lot of stuff too. So.
Yeah, and it's the thing that amazed me the most when I came here was the thought that they put into the product of what they were doing, like the new cams, the new stuff like that. It's like Dennis explains the math, what he's doing and stuff. It's like, where the hell did you come up with that? You know?
Right.
But it's like it works.
he has a passion for it too. He's had it all his life, so that's cool. That's good. Thanks for all the information, and thanks for helping everybody out.
Not a problem. Thanks for stopping in.
Yep. Thank you, Jeff.
You bet.
Hey everybody, hope you enjoyed our tour walking through FVP. For everyone that doesn't really know our history, I have a little trivia. If you've ever wondered why our little inverted triangle is orange, it's because that is our history right there. We pulled Agent Orange in the Badger State Tractor Puller Circuit for 10 seasons, 2000 to 2009. It's won a couple points champions. It's won DeCoin. It's won Gordyville. It was the first tractor to ever hit the Gordyville sand pile. So just so you all know, we understand this passion. We understand all-nighters. We understand needing something the next day. We understand points races. We understand the ups and the downs. So that's just a little bit of where we come from, and we understand. And we got to redo this because I'm like ready to cry.
Oh, that's fine. That's what people want to say. You're all good.
So in quick conclusion, basically getting back to Agent Orange, I grew up with Al Chalmers tractors, so a couple generations old. So that's kind of where that comes from. I'm a farm boy, and that's why we like Al Chalmers. Obviously the underdog in tractor pulling, but that's besides the fact, I guess. But a quick thing, going back to FVP, we started in 2007 on our own. We had one full-time employee. Now in 2025, we have 21 full-time employees. We've grown. We're a first-generation business. We're not a second. We're not a third. We've been through the blood, sweat, and the tears to grow this business, and the early years were really tough, and things have gotten much better, but it took a lot of work. But it's because of our good customers, our faithful customers that have stuck with us, and new customers that are coming on board. We appreciate that. That keeps us going, and we're proud to be able to keep the sport of trucker and tractor pulling going, and we're happy to partner with Badger State, and looking forward to the upcoming summer season.
All right. Thank you, Dennis. Yep. Glad to see you guys, and make sure you answer if you have any questions, this is the time to ask, guys, all right? So you'll be on live at the end, and
Right on.
ask questions. Grill him hard, he needs it. All right. Thank you. There we go.
We're back.
Yep.
There we go.
Rich fell asleep for a little bit. I had to wake him
Oh,
up.
yeah, right. You weren't even
I wouldn't
here
doubt
for
that.
15 minutes of it.
I had to go grab
He's
some.
punched in. You got to keep him awake.
Yeah, exactly right. Drag this on as long as you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Time to roll out the Pro Stock Charger, Craig Ladwig says.
Oh boy, I don't know about that, Craig. we'll let the Weimer boys handle that one.
Yep. Well, Dennis, one of your comments at the end, it was a struggle in the beginning. I watched it, and you never wavered in your business plan. You stuck with it, and you seen it through, and you turned it into this. Now I think that's a great accomplishment.
Yeah, it's like any business. Starting a business is tough. We took a lot of risk. We both quit good jobs to do this, and it takes years at that point. And now that we're 17 years into it or whatever we are, it's all come together. So it's we're proud of that.
Well, just the overhead in the back room of the parts, that I seen there, and I'm just wondering. I mean, you really use all these stuff? And Jeff said, yeah, eventually you use everything up.
Yeah, right. And the thing is, a lot of our proprietary products that we buy, like our nozzles, we have to order big quantities. I mean, we're talking 300 to 400 nozzles at a crack in one order. Of course, we have how many different nozzles they're ordering now? 4, 5 different type now.
Mm-hmm.
So these are big dollar orders, and they come in. So we have to forecast 6 months ahead of time. I just placed an order for nozzles on, I think it was Friday, and we're expecting to see them in mid-December. So
Really?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and so we have to look at our inventory levels, and we have to try to predict that. But yet at the same time, we're trying to inventory control so we don't get buried in inventory. And the worst thing that can happen is if you ever have dead products. So we have to be real careful there too. If we're seeing something that we're going to be improving on, then we have to pump the brakes a little bit. And so we really have to predict. So that's a tough part of business. And so we have a lot of dollars in inventory that we have to maintain.
Right. And you were saying, when you say dead inventory, that means you came out with something better, and you're probably not going to use that old inventory anymore.
Right. And it happens, we're constantly working on different things, whether it be a cam design or whatever, or plungers and barrels that all of a sudden, we need this design differently. And all of a sudden we have an inventory of 200 of these pieces. Well, that's tough, so we have to kind of watch that. And the fact that we have long lead times as well. So,
Well, like Rooster said, he said, yeah, some guys are happy with what they got. They might want the old stuff back. So you do kind of keep that around, right?
well, there's, again, with your different levels of tractor pull and some of the, what used to be a pro stock part now could be a hot farm part,
Right.
or whatever, and it's perfectly fine for that. But it's a matter of, when we're dealing with the 4-1 limited pros and the 540 light pros, and now we're doing lots of injectors for the pro stocks. That's got to be the best stuff we have, type thing.
Right.
And what works good for them, but what worked good for them maybe 2 years ago is going to work perfectly fine in that pro farm tractor or whatever, and it's all about what makes the power. I mean, and that's the one thing that's really been, in today's times now, there's so many dynos out there. When we started our business in 2007, really the dyno market wasn't that big. In 2007, a lot of tractor pullers didn't dyno, but as time goes on, but now we not only do we have to produce product that's going to win on the track, we have to produce product that's going to win on the dyno first.
Right.
And the other thing is we have to invest so much into that because we have to have dyno trials. So at some of these bigger dyno places, we got to have a pump there. We got to have a set of injectors, and more so your higher level guys, we have to earn our way onto their tractor.
Right.
And by earning our way, it's like, here, try a set of our injectors.
Right.
Here, try our pump. And if we can be the one on the top of the heap at the end, then the stuff doesn't come back, so, but it makes it tough for us. And it's really, quite honestly, it's probably made us better, because of that, because we know it's going to have to beat whatever product they have on now, so.
Right. So if they tried your stuff twice and they do any better the third time, they say, we're not doing that again. You've got to have, right.
Yeah. And it just depends. Every situation is different, and every customer is different as well. We truly do have our faithful customers. Well, we'll do anything. We'll send stuff out, and just like you guys, Greg, the boys, when they're going to go to the dyno, we're going to make sure we have some stuff that you can try.
Right.
And before that X573 pump that we have out there now, well, try it compared to your old one and make sure it's going to work,
Right. And a lot of things too, you send a set of injectors out, the protrusion of the head makes a difference. How thick of washers did you use? They might say they didn't work, but did you really give them a chance at different things, right?
Well, and that's a big thing too. And I see Craig is chiming in here. What design or invention are we the most proud of? I don't know. It's probably multiple things. I think right now probably our injector business is. I think that is, to me. We've quadrupled our injector business in probably 2 years. So that's probably a big thing. And I would say pump wise, I'd say pretty much all of them, but like our new P7100 pump with our X573 14 millimeter lift cam, that took a lot of work to design and a little, and some trial and error too, because we have so much cam in that pump. We're trying to maintain a big base circle, and yet get 14 millimeters of lift. So it took a lot of creativity inside to do that. So that's pretty cool. And now that it's working good and it's reliable, that would be one thing. So.
Right. And part of making that stuff reliable is making sure it lubricates itself when it's doing it right. And
right.
That's tricky. You just don't throw it in. It's always different, right?
Right. And you had, when you interviewed Travis there before, he pointed out all the DLC coded parts. That's something that I don't think any pump shop used to do. And now we don't produce a pump right now without a DLC coated plunger, because I don't want these things to stick a plunger, like back in the old days, Greg, all of us guys back in the old days, I mean, you stuck a plunger. I mean, John, how often did you go to a pull and not see someone stick a plunger, right?
Years ago, and I can tell you the last one that did it was a pro stock in Mazomanie a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Now, go to as many polls as I go to and only see one in that amount of time, that's
Yeah.
pretty darn good.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
what
changed.
technology-
Technology
Yeah.
in this, and again, this DLC coating, and that we do everything: rollers, tappets,
Guys-
tappets, everything.
guys are doing a lot of different things back then too. Add a half a quart of transmission fluid to 5 gallons of diesel fuel, or
Right.
put this as lubricity, and changing things. It's gonna smoke a little more when it idles, but it won't stick a plunger. You hear stuff like that all the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And of course now they make product. It used to be where back in those days when guys use ATF and whatever, and some guys still do, but now you got product available like the Hot Shots, Greg, right?
Right. That the Hot Shots fuel is. I didn't think it'd be that big of a difference versus what we used to run, but I spilled some and it looked like the biofuel. It felt like it's got a lot of lubricity in it, and the tractor starts as good as it always did. And I mean, I'm happy with it.
Yeah. So us pump guys like lubricity too. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing. And some of the other products are out there. We have additive that we recommend that they run all the time. But I think with the Hot Shots, that's not required.
Yep.
Big
You don't.
fuel too when you're doctoring fuel up. Guys are like, oh man, I stuck a plunger. I'm gonna put a little more ATF in there. Well, you go to a pull and they pull a fuel sample out of there, and you got to remember that they're testing everybody there, but you add that much extra ATF in there, that just changed your fuel sample. It could make it illegal.
Right.
Just because the added ATF in there.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, it's not a enhancing product to the fuel to gain cetane or whatever. It's just, it makes the fuel heavier because you got that much more ATF in it than diesel fuel.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
And my father is very happy with you guys because his 656 International runs like a top when he's out baling square bales.
Perfect.
He's happy. I'm happy.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, so that's some of the everyday stuff that we do. So that's something I think we touched on the time I was on before. But besides the pulling stuff, we still take care of the farmers with their tractors and injectors and turbos and things like that. So that's to me, that's easy stuff that I can relax my mind when I'm doing stuff like that. It's the pulling stuff that that's the more challenging part. So.
Yeah, you guys got 2 new cups for me when I went there, and out of 6 injectors, one of them was good. So I'm glad that I went there. And then after we got it all put together, got it running, I thought, well, I wonder how this is going to go, So brand new had new injectors in it, and he went out bailing, and I called him up. I said, well, is this still running? Best it's ever run, he says. I don't know what you did, but it really runs good.
Awesome.
Great to hear.
Yep. Did I see something from Kathy Gallett's on there flash up there for a second? Or
I did see something. I kind of Kathy, thank you. And the Gallett's have been great customers of ours, and we've had to earn our way on their tractors, right, Kathy? So
well, she's the big winner from last weekend.
I know. That's awesome. That makes FVP happy too. And but Gallett's have been very good customers, and like I said, I've known Tom and Kathy for a lot of years now, and I'm proud that we've been able to earn our way onto their top tier iron.
Yep.
Thanks, Johnny.
They're one of the top. Yeah, it's been a long weekend. Yep. But yeah, it was. Gallett's has been one of the top runners in the limited pro class for quite a few years now. So,
right.
Good to have them on board.
Yep. Sure. Yeah.
So, anybody, you got any more?
The difficulty with you guys too is there are so many competitors in the pulling, and it's not just Badger State. You guys do work for all the organizations, whether it be Grand National to, like you said, Hot Farm, Too Hot to Farm, it doesn't matter. But the competitors are so competitive that, you got a lot of products in the same class, I mean, that's tough. That's a fine line to toe.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And you're right. All kinds of different competitors, and that's one of the challenging things too. And maybe I talked about it before is with our business is when it comes to pulling, there's just a lot of phone time involved, you know. And if we're going to be selling a product, if we're going to be selling a complete fuel system, you know, we have to talk to this customer through and through. And then not only that, once we do build the product, it goes out. They put it on the tractor. There's just a lot, you know. And now today was a manic Monday. Maddie was off today, my frontline phone lady. So that means Dennis gets pounded down to the ground. And today was one of those. And I feel bad because at 5:30, I you know what, I'm shutting things down. But I got a list of people I need to call, which makes me feel bad. But it's just, there are days like today that we just simply get over consumed, and I don't have a good answer for it other than hopefully this time of year people have patience with us, and hopefully they understand. And I try to, if there's an emergency, that's usually number one. If someone's got to get up and going, right now we've got a puller from Iowa that dropped off a Sigma pump and a set of injectors this morning, and he's staying in Sauk City at the hotel. And so we're going to try to get that pump done by the end of the day tomorrow, so he can pull in Rock Valley this coming, which is one of Outlaw's biggest pulls of the year. So we're gunning hard to get that done. So
bring some engineering fluid over when you're done chatting. Trying to make some HP over here.
He's right behind us across the road in the white shop. They're dinking around over there working on something, and yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Highly technical when he's around, by golly.
Yeah, right.
Brad's biggest worry this weekend was filling his pool or something, I think.
Yeah.
So you guys, you think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I work with an engine builder, you know, that when we were talking to one day, we've been good friends for years, that they, you know, their exact words were, every engine that comes out of our shop is one of our babies. And we want to make sure that baby runs good and that it's taken care of, and, you know, it gets what it needs when it needs it, and, you know, to keep it running and competitive. You know, there's heart and soul in each and every one of them. And I think you guys are the same way when it comes to your products that come out of that shop too.
Yeah, for sure. And I mentioned before, quality. I can't say that enough. And I'd rather lose my tail on a job because something didn't quite go right, knowing that product is perfect by the time it leaves. I mean, that's just the way it's got to be. And I've been in this business enough years where I like to sleep at night, and I like to go to pulls, and I enjoy watching our product pull. And I want to have the confidence that everything is top notch, and not saying that something can't happen, but I'm very confident in our product and the quality of our product. And we got, as far as training goes too, I mean, you've seen throughout the whole tour, I mean, we've got guys that have been here for 17, 18 years. We've got guys that have been here for a year. You know, we do have a good process of training. So at that point, we have our strategy, and I'll actually put together, I've got a couple training presentations that I put together myself, that when I get like a new employee, I'll sit down with them and kind of go through the basics of diesel fuel injection and diesel technology and how a diesel engine works. So they understand that, you know, someone like Maddie, I mean, Maddie can, you know, we taught her all that, you know, and now she's talking to top tier pulling customers and able to take care of them in many cases. And it's just training, but comes with that though is employee retention as well. I'm proud to say that we've done a very good job at that. We treat our employees very well. We pay them very well. Knowing that if I have 5, 6 or more years of training into this person that has become a very good technician, I don't want to lose them, you know. And so
it's a valuable asset.
And to keep us successful, and especially now, this time of year is the most important, because now I really need my guys when this stuff comes rolling in, and we got hot jobs going in and out. And I need the staff to do that. I can't have just a couple guys back there, and we can't produce product for 5 months of the year and just expect that it's going to be, we're good to go. Now I got to have the supporting cast to be able to, number one, take on phone calls, and number two, to do the work when it's here. So, and I think we do a pretty good job at that. We can juggle, and I have enough guys, I have enough staff that we can push things around where, hey, this thing's not that important. This job happened to come in from this customer. We got to shift gears and things like that. Like the Sigma pump that came in. I got the call yesterday afternoon, Sunday. I got the call, and it's like, hey, we're heading that way with the Sigma pump. We'll be there first thing in the morning. It's like, okay, that wasn't on my radar on Saturday, but it was on my radar Sunday afternoon. And so at that point, we have to fit that in and try to get that guy taken care of. So
Yeah. Good.
yeah.
Well, guys, thanks. Or go ahead, John.
Juggling all that, but then, like you said, cross-training your employees where, Ridge is super good at this and Tony is struggling at it. Ridge, show him how to do this so he's better at it. And not only that, Tony, you're really good at this, and Ridge sometimes struggles at this piece.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you show him this piece, and both of you will be
Right.
better. And
Right.
Tony is, Ridge can go do it, and vice versa. It makes you a stronger team.
Yep.
It's like a football team. There's a quarterback, a coach, a cornerback, the center. I mean, they all have very important jobs, but if the center goes out, well, your quarterback is not going to be so good because there's nobody to protect them or, hand them off the ball correctly. So, it's vital to a business to operate like that. Even, how small or big a business, you need to be.
Yeah, you're exactly right, John. And I look at that way as we're like a football team or whatever, and we've got some really smart people here. I jokingly say I've hired people that are smarter than me, and successful businessmen do that. And I got guys here like Dennis and Gary, and now Ridge is coming up through that. And we can all bounce ideas off each other. So it all puts us in a comfort zone because we know if we run into a tough one, we've got a lot of us here that can huddle together and try to figure it out. And back in the earlier days of FVP, when I didn't have that, it was all on my shoulders, although, we were much smaller back then, but yet, I had to take care of that. I had to handle it. I had to figure it out. And it's pretty comforting now when I can come to work and know that, hey, I can bounce these ideas off each other, and I can have Gary machine this. I can have Ridge draw this up on CAD. I can have Dennis, wire out a nozzle in short term because we got caught, without one. We never used to be that way. Now we can. We get everything. We can do it in house, and we can. Ridge took an order for a set of injectors today, set of John Deere billets for a 5.0 Pro, right?
Yep.
And the guy's hot to trot. He had some problems with his other injectors, not ours. And yeah, Ridge talked to me, and I said, "Yep, we can pound them out." So we did a set of nozzles today. I think we're probably in the assembly process right now.
Yep.
And we're gonna get them out the door tomorrow. So day and a half, and we have a set of injectors finished up and out the door.
And having all that stuff in house is part of the reason you can get stuff out and be on time, right?
Right.
Because when you had to ship it out and rely on somebody else that says they're going to get it done in a week and it was 3 weeks,
Yeah.
That comes back to making you look bad, right?
We wouldn't be where we're at today if we had to do that. We had to bring a lot of that capability in house. There's going to be some things that I don't, as far as on some of the products that we have made that we have maybe a bigger run of, like a machine piece. I don't mind farming that stuff out necessarily, at that point, but it's more the more specialty things like our nozzle work, our injector body work, things like that. And we can do all that in house. That gives us 100% capability to do what we have to do very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I wish we would have done is video EDM on a nozzle. you know, to see that. I think it would have been neat to see that, but that's all top secret stuff.
I don't know. Yeah. That, Reg.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, and that's one thing with so that's the EDM drill process. So we drill them out, but the process in which and the way we do it, I think, is probably pretty unique compared to anybody else. In all that, you know, and we have some pretty fancy fixturing to be able to do that on a certain product like a John Deere KDL body or a common nozzle. We have fixtures, or we can get it done pretty quickly and accurately, and the preciseness is the big thing too.
Yep.
So.
Yep. We had another comment from Brad Luck about Brad Crookton, right? Yeah, or Scott Luck.
Yeah.
Scott Luck, yeah.
A big HP.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Big dollar.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys.
Great job. Everything done there, Greg and Ryan putting it together. And Dennis, you opening the doors to us to come in, and Ridge and Jenny I mean, we went through your place. The only thing we didn't cover was the dustpan and broom, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I just want to mention, I appreciate you guys coming in, and like I told Greg when we talked about this originally, we were talking about doing it after hours, but again, the more I thought of it, let's come on in during the day, and this is the way we are. I want to show off our team. You know, I want to show who we got, what we do, and did we give away some secrets along the way? Probably, you know, but at the same time, I want to assure that our customers know and feel comfortable with what they're buying from us. And I think that's one way of doing it. I've never been one to be real secretive about some of the things. There's maybe some, we just do our thing, you know, and I think that in itself will pay for itself. And if someone watches this and they're trying to figure out what we do, I guess so be it.
Right.
So. Yep.
Awesome.
Well, guys, thanks for coming on, and I appreciate it. And I think it's been one of our best months of show. You know, 4 episodes here. It's really interesting, and I'm glad we did it this way. And I hope we can do more stuff with other vendors or whatever you want to say in coming up. You know, I don't know who, but I think it'd be pretty cool to do more of this.
Yeah.
Like this. So, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, we enjoyed it, and thanks a lot, everybody, and we appreciate all of our customers, and looking forward to the rest of the summer season.
Perfect.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a crazy week this week. We got Jefferson Wednesday night at Jefferson County Fair. We got Sauk County Fair in Baraboo Friday night, and then we're going to be at Lafayette County Fair in Darlington on Saturday. Just to add a touch on that, we got a $5,000 bonus. The Triple Crown Championship for the Pro Stock class, $5,000 for first and $1,500, I understand, for second place. Whoever accumulates the most points in the Pro Stock class from those 3 events. So that's pretty awesome. That's
right.
That's pretty
and
cool.
I'm donating a barrel of fuel. I'm donating a barrel of fuel to the Pro Stock puller that buys fuel from me that places the highest.
Awesome.
So, you know, it's a $1,150 barrel of fuel. So
awesome.
And that's
for the hot shots. Yep.
Hot shot fuel. So yeah.
So that'll be.
Don't forget, folks. If I'm announcing a tractor pull, I got tickets. I think I sold 5 books this weekend.
Okay.
So
in Edgerton.
Old Jack Spots and I are going to rock the house this year. I don't think
Yep.
So
good job, John.
So JJ, game on.
Game on, right? Well, we've got highlights from Edgerton. We'll save them for next week. Our hour's up, so we'll have highlights from all 4 events this weekend. So this is what we call our Hell Week. So
this is gonna be Hell Week. Yeah.
Try to keep them running, boys.
Yeah. So thank you, Dennis and Ridge and Jenny and everybody at Fair Valley for opening the doors. This is awesome. I love these segments. Greg did an awesome job too. And Lafayette County Fair is excited. Woohoo!
Right on.
Welcome back to Darlington. So thank you guys. Thanks everybody for watching. Ryan, you don't get enough thank yous at all. I'll times that by 100. You do an awesome job helping us out. Thank you for all you do. Also, thanks to Slama Enterprises, Casper Egg, Trip Downing, Front Street Toys, Wet and Camp Transport, Fair Valley Performance. Everybody have a great night. See you this week. Jefferson, Baraboo, Darlington. Drive safe, everybody.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Right
Sounds
on.
good.
We'll see you guys.
Thanks.
Good night.
Take care.
Yep.